and the growth of internet penetration in some of the markets that you said are key for you, including India. And the question comes from the fact that last week, Jonathan Miller, the Chief Digital Officer of News Corp, said that News Corp is investing around $10 million on digital, but they're not going to invest in India because the market is not digitally grown. So I wanted to get your view on that. What do you think about these markets?
Well, because we're charity, Wikipedia is a nonprofit organization with a mission to bring a free encyclopedia to everyone. We don't usually think in terms of markets. We just think in terms of people. So I have no idea, honestly, whether it would make economic sense for News Corp or anyone else to invest at this time in India. So for us, I think that there's no question that in the future, all of these markets that are emerging digital markets are enormous and enormously important. And I think every organization is going to have to choose their own timeline for that. But we'll be the first everywhere, I think, because we don't care about money.
Other questions. Forgive me if this is covered in the questions at the end of our session, because I just had to dash out. But obviously, you guys provide lots of information for free, and there's lots of media in the dark net struggling with the kind of paid versus free model with content online. And you've got people like The Times kind of changing to go for a paid-for model. You've got kind of hybrid models. What do you think is the best way to monetize content online for media?
So I think there's no simple one best way. And I think that it depends very much on the specific nature of the information and the specific nature of the audience for that information. I don't think it will make much sense at all to put either general news or general commentary behind a paywall. That's a commodity. People can just go somewhere else and get it, and they'll be fine. I do think it may make sense for certain people to get out of the general news and general commentary business because it is a commodity and there's such an oversupply of it now. And I think it's going to lead to some structural changes with the way syndication is handled and things like that. But there are successful examples of people with a pay model. Wall Street Journal's done quite well with theirs. Partly because the information that they have is unique to a certain extent, and it's also information that has direct economic value to various organizations, just what people can put on their expense account, and it's fine. And they are doing a hybrid print and digital strategy that's worked very well for them. But I'm not sure that's the way forward for a lot of news organizations.
And do you think it's quite hard, for example, with the Times has actually changed from being free to a paid-for model, I think, last weekend or something? Do you think it's possible to do that successfully?
No.
No? Okay.
I think it's a dumb idea.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
There has been, especially in India, I'm so sorry, I don't know much about it, but there has been a lot of debate about how not necessarily all information on Wikipedia may be correct. There's chances of erroneous information. Does that in some way, one, I'm sure you're doing something to minimize that. Second, does that serve as a setback in your growth in some form?
No, not really. Certainly we're very keen on Wikipedia being as high quality as possible. And we've taken many steps over the years and will continue to do so in terms of adjusting the software to make it easier for people to do good and make it a little harder to do bad. But at the same time, I think if we became foolish about that, we would fail. A big part of what makes Wikipedia work is that it is live, a work in progress. People can come and work on that and help make it better without a lot of restrictions. And the results speak for themselves. In general, when you look at Wikipedia, the quality today is extremely competitive with a traditional encyclopedia. In many cases, far surpassing it simply because we actually have live, up-to-date information that's of high quality on things that they can't even begin to cover. So it's always a balance to sort of figure out how to minimize error while at the same time allowing work to continue.
wondering about, obviously, kind of slightly linked to the previous question, but how have you ever been sued by anyone? Has there ever been any libel cases against you guys for publishing something false and damaging? Well, for hosting something false and damaging.
Well, there's
how do you avoid?
Yeah, there have been a few incidents, around the world. We've never lost a case.
Yeah.
And in general, the way it works is that everyone who writes something on the internet is responsible for their own words. And we do cooperate whenever we give a subpoena to give the IP numbers or whatever if someone is engaging in libel through Wikipedia, simply because we're very opposed to that, and the community is quite passionately opposed to that. At the same time, we have a very few problems, actually, simply because we do have a community that's very committed to quality and to proper sourcing. So if somebody comes to Wikipedia and starts trying to put in libelous information, the community reacts very strongly to that and normally removes it very, very quickly. It can happen that something's overlooked for some time, but whenever it's pointed out, they remove it very quickly. So we've had very minimal problems.
So who's you?
Well, I think the biggest problems we've had have had to do with differences in the legal regimes in different places around the world. So in particular, we had a case in Germany where under German law, if someone has been convicted of murder, for example, and then they serve their time in prison and 14 years later they get out, it's not allowed to say that they committed murder anymore, which under American law and British law and most legal systems, that's completely insane and impossible. And so we did have to deal with that situation. We did win that case, but and in fact, what's interesting is that the German community has decided that they will follow German media tradition, which is to only refer to people by their initials in a case like that. I'm not sure it's the right decision, but it's up to the community. So mostly it's things like that. We had another example where somebody wrote something horrible about Fuzzy Zoeller, the golfer, and they did it from the IP number of their law firm, a lawyer, and not that smart, and they got the IP number, and Fuzzy Zoeller sued this guy, and it doesn't really have anything to do with us, because the community had removed it very quickly.
Can I actually ask a question? I'm sitting on the other side of the table. The media industry